G'day watchers, welcome to Perth Watch, your horology channel broadcasting from right here in Perth, Western Australia. Today I have none other than one of the latest from Cadisen. Cadisen, maker of Homage watches, which want to be as good as stuff like Pagani, but kind of have been catching up. But I tell you what, this might be one of their better ones yet. So, cardboard box, it's, about 3 out of 5, I reckon. Not much better than that in terms of the spinability rating. I could kind of show you the stuff in here, but who gives a crap? It's kind of just there to protect the watch on transit, right? So just showing you guys this piece closer here. This is the Cadisen automatic chronograph C8212M, which is definitely an homage of a Patek Philippe piece, and the Patek Philippe is in fact a mono pusher chronograph. I'll just put it side by side here in case anybody has any doubt whether this is an homage of that particular watch. You shouldn't. I don't think you should have any doubt, but some people probably want to make some arguments, so let me know your thoughts. Yes, the Patek Philippe registers are more like 330 and 830, but apart from that, everything is just about a direct copy. Okay, so this watch, the retail is $199 USD as I check it right now, which is amazing for a mechanical chronograph with with ostensibly a Seagull movement. That is pretty darn good pricing, if you ask me. Let me know your thoughts on the value of this particular piece as we go along. As I usually do, of course, let's start with the movement, which is gorgeous, right? This is the gorgeous ST1901. They say 1900, but there doesn't seem to be anything called the 1900. I'm going to say it's the 1901. It's none other than a mechanical chronograph with both a column wheel that you can see there on the display back and a swan neck regulator, which is pretty darn awesome. All the other specs down the left side of screen here. It is a manual wind movement, of course. There is no rotor, so it is not an automatic movement. I don't know what the rating in terms of accuracy is for an ST1901, but in use, this is running about plus 12 seconds per day, which I think is absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine. There's nothing majorly wrong with that type of accuracy. Okay, moving on, right on to the case stand. So the case here is, in terms of sizing, 40 millimeter diameter. Okay, in terms of thickness, 12.5 millimeters on the thick there, including the dome crystal, 20 millimeter lug width, and a lug-to-lug distance of 47 millimeters between my thumbs there. It does come on leather strap, this textured leather, so it is only 74 grams on the wrist, which is very comfortable, very light. In fact, I think at this weight, easy to forget that it's on the wrist. At least for me, I find that type of weight easy to forget. In terms of finishing, fully polished, right? Fully polished bezel, kind of beveled bezel here, fully polished top, fully polished bottom, as well as the surfaces of that, the side of that display case back. But it does have a bit of bead blasting on the side here. So I'm going to turn it on this side. So it's got a bit of an inset there that's a bit bead blasted, sand blasted with those type of rivets there for, for the strap. That kind of is, again, a copy of the Patek Philippe, I believe. Right, in terms of the construction, you have a screw secured display case back. So it's not screwed down. You can see the 4 screws holding that display case back, which is, again, look at that movement. It is quite a movement to look at. It's got a, kind of a winding crown. So there's not even a push in, it winds right there. It winds in the 0 position. Yet with that, they have called it 10 atmospheres, 10, so 100 meter water resistant. I wouldn't bet my life on it, and I certainly will not be taking a watch like this anywhere near a pool. Forget about it. I would suggest you do not submerge a watch with this type of construction. That's my opinion on this, regardless of what the manufacturer, a Chinese manufacturer like this, tells you. Moving on to this dial then. Okay, so what we have here, a gloss blue dial. I think the Patek Philippe is enamel, but this definitely will not be enamel. It's a gloss blue dial. It's got applied indices, which is pretty good. It's got applied chapter dots as well around the periphery. It's also got a printed railroad chapter ring around the side with red splashes and printed subdials. So those two sub-registers that you see there are printed, of course. In terms of the hands, we have polished leaf hands. All right, you got a splash of red on the seconds hand and the word mechanical, as well as the index marks on the chapter ring. So a little bit of splash of red color, which is nice. Just gives it a little bit more, color on this dial here. In terms of lume, only on the two main hands. And I will put a lume shot right here for you guys to see how it glows. I think it kind of just makes it into the morning through a night. It's not designed to glow very long, of course. I don't expect a dress style watch to do so. But this one kind of just makes it into the morning when I charge it up at night before going to bed. Right, moving on to the crystal then. So on top of the dial is what they call a domed sapphire crystal. So it is box domed, so pretty nicely box domed. I will run it through the checker and put an addendum here to confirm whether it is truly sapphire before publishing this video for your information. And before I move on, I realized I haven't been running the chronograph, so just going to start it here for you. Right, you can see it running. Right, stop, start. Not the best engagement here, right? It's a little bit loose on the engagement. But I'll let it running, and then later on I'll stop it and reset for you guys to see the action. In terms of the strap, this again, they call it a fabric texture, the Patek does, and I guess it reminds me of pearl on straps actually, but it's got a fabric texture here. It's got red stitching here, leather strap, nothing much more to say about it, except the quality is pretty good. It's one of the best I've seen at this, I guess a Chinese watch brand type of finishing. They've done something good about this. It feels a little bit better than average, just polished steel buckle there, nothing much more to say about that. Okay, so that's the entire description of this watch. Gonna slap it on the wrist for a wrist shot for you guys now. And there you have it, guys. That is the Cadisen Patek Philippe, mono pusher chronograph homage on my 17 centimeter wrist, and that is that strap. Again, pretty darn good quality, I have to say. So remember, only 12.5 millimeters in terms of thickness and 47 millimeter lug to lug distance. It is really quite a good looking homage, as I say. Of course, no credit at all to Cadisen for this. It is all Patek design. All right, let's just take it off now and talk about my thoughts on this watch. So what do I think are the pros here? What are the good things about this watch? Look, I think this is a super budget price mechanical chronograph. You're not going to get much cheaper than this, right? And if you do, it's probably going to be a bit dodgy. This is about the right price in terms of the lowest you can get with a ST1901 example or that type of level movement, right? It is a PP homage. It is a Patek homage. It's got a Seagull column wheel and swan neck regulation mechanical movement in here, and you can look it up as to why those two features are good. But look, column wheel is really the desired thing, right? It is actually more, I guess you can say, aesthetically pleasing in terms of the design, and you can see, hopefully it does capture the column wheel right there, and then the swan neck regulation, of course. Where is it? At the top of the movement here, that swan neck regulator. These are kind of more aesthetically pleasing. Are they superior? Overall, you can argue about that, but definitely I think people prefer the aesthetics of the column wheel and the swan neck, right? Overall, I think, pretty excellently executed appearance-wise, right? It really does look quite good, including the side bead blasting there, the polished sides. Sorry, I haven't got around to removing all the blue covering here, but this is all meant to be silvered and polished. Apologies for being a bit slack about that on my part. Overall, a nicely done, homage, nicely executed, well done dome sapphire crystal, well done textured strap. I don't say, well done about the straps, about many of these Chinese watches, but this one actually is pretty good. It is really quite a high value proposition for anyone wanting to look like they got $1 million on their wrists. And I think the real thing is probably about $1 million. I think I saw it on Chrono 24. It's ridiculous, but that's first world throwing money around for you. Any weaknesses? Well, I would say not much to say here. You know, the price point is really sweet, but I will say that the buttons do feel slightly cheap, right? So if you look at here, if I press this now, it does stop, but sometimes it doesn't quite engage. You have to press it a bit harder to start and stop that chronograph. And that crown, it feels like you're doing some work to wind the movement, right? Not the best engagement if you're going to be tactilely engaging with the watch, but looks-wise, fantastic. Okay, it's just going to stop this and let you see the reset there. Right? Hopefully that was visible to all of you. So there you go, guys. My review of this Cadisen C8212M. Let me know your thoughts below. Look forward to discussion on this particular piece. I really think they've done a pretty darn good job. One of their best, I reckon, that I have seen so far. So guys, as always, let me know your thoughts below. Thank you for sticking with me, and I will see you next time.